Experience Karen Hunter in a completely different way. Karen Hunter is awesome. The podcast.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're going to love me in Karen Hunter is Awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of The Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is Awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power. A 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. Check out the podcast wherever you get your podcast. You will not be disappointed. So hello to everybody. The Dow, and I'm only talking about this because I'm personally impacted. So I just want, I know y'all not going to commiserate, but my portfolio looks very horrible right now. It's like, well, I'm sure people y'all got 401ks. I saw somebody said they lost $7 million in the last 2 days. I was like, well, at least,
Holy shit.
Yeah, I guess I could. I'm not in that position. So,
You definitely don't want to look right now. You can avoid looking this.
Yeah.
You know how they always tell you, put your money away. Don't look at your 401k. We don't really take that advice. We all like to take a little peek every once in a while. Right now is definitely the time to not look. Because you ain't gonna like what you see.
Nah. And when you knock, if you buck, I don't know, what does that even mean? So the knucking and the bucking, what I'm not necessarily from the South, but I heard,
I think it's knuckle up.
Knuck if you buck. What does that mean?
Knuckle up if you ready to fight.
Okay. So if you knucking, you ain't ready to buck, or you knucking and the person is bucking and knucking on others. So Trump knocked and China said, I'm a buck.
Yep.
I'm a buck knuck and with the F word in front of the uck. So after Trump announced all of these tariffs on everybody, China was like, you know what? We're going to now impose, because we don't really give a damn about our people anyway. Yeah, we don't give a damn. And we're communists, which means, people going to get a pot of rice. They're going to eat no matter what, even if they only got one child. 34%. In reciprocal tariffs, that then the stock market was like, what the F? Okay, so China, Trump said China played it wrong. No, bitch, excuse me. You did this. You blaming China. China minding their business. China working with Mexico. They done build a damn new Panama Canal through Mexico. They not even thinking about you putting tariffs on them that's impacting us because we are the ones paying the extra. And so they said, let's play. You want to do 25, we're going to do 34% on all goods imported into the United States. So you don't want things coming in. We don't want things coming in. Oh my goodness. And this is the problem. And I'm going to say this is Friday. When you've never had your ass whooped, I'm going to do a whole series of podcasts next week on ass whippings for children and how I'm against it. And now, I've come. Right. But I'm saying, if you've grown up and you've never had to deal with conflict and you've never had to work through being threatened seriously and having to work through your own, let me see. This is what this looks like. Somebody that's never been checked and challenged their entire life, feel like they could just do anything and get away with it because who's ever checked them? Right. China's like, here, boo. I'm here. Back to back. The stock market is in the toilet. But here's what I'm going to say, because I talked with Terry about this yesterday. Terry Igioma, our stock maven. She said, this is how they play the game. So we all saw all of the folk, the Zuckerbergs and the Bezoses and the Musks and everybody, Tim Cook, all of them giving money, millions of dollars to Trump during the inauguration. They were there at the inauguration. I suspect, Roderick, while I'm saying all of this because personally I'm impacted, I think that they planned this. I feel like they got in a room and said, let's do this. Drive down, because the market under Biden, boom, 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 boom. People were like, prosper, jobs. Oh, money coming in. Oh, everything's great. Oh, housing market. There's no bubble. But people's houses selling for more. We ain't even dropping the interest rate. And it's just it's no inventory. They probably got in a room and was like, this, let's crash this so we can do a stock buyback. Apple has more money than most companies combined. Like they keep cash on hand. If the stock crashes and you buy back the stock and then the market goes back up because your company's not really failing, you're not Target. Meta, Bezos, all the Amazon, Apple, they're not Target. They are different. And the blue chippers are doing okay. You know what I'm saying? The Procter and Gambles or whatever, they gonna hold steady. And the telecoms are like, okay, this might work out for us. I feel like they got in the room and it's like, let's crash, let's tank this, let's do this. And I also feel like this is how you become a fascist oligarchic ruler. This is how it happens. So there's a lot of things that people are being massively fired.
Yep.
The government's one of the biggest employers in the country, by the way. So when they fire people, and half of them, they're firing a whole lot of Americans. And then there has a domino effect, right? Because a lot of these folk are high net worth, over six-figure people. Then you have the rural areas, right? So they're putting some jobs there, but then they're firing people. But then those people can't spend money, which impacts the smaller places. And then the states that we already are supporting with welfare, like Jersey and California and New York, Connecticut, are already sending money to the southern states that are last in everything.
Right.
Now it's like, who's supporting the economy? But if you kick the teeth out of it and make people come back to work, which we've already proven is not efficient. It's not efficient for people to be back in the office, but it helps the businesses.
Right.
Right. And the cities, the big cities, the small cities. So they're doing all of this, and there's a lot of fear, and there's a lot of confusion, and then the market's crashing, so people can't even really retire the way they thought they could last month, last year. They may have plans to retire. Now they're looking in their 401k is almost down a third, maybe not half, but this is pretty, what's happening?
Right.
Now, when it comes back, because pendulum swings. Now you have gratitude, humility, people, and then it's so I have a couple of videos I want to play, or their audio for the people listening. So it's the one the last one I sent you over, where the lady talks about, she's in her car, it's a TikTok video, she's talking about this is how the oligarchs do it. Do we have that one ready?
I'm going to tell you something a lot of people don't like to talk about. Oligarchs love recessions. It's a fucking fire sale. It gets them all in their feels, right? I live in rural America. I know exactly what they are doing. It happened to communities like mine first, and now they're bringing it nationwide. Bring on the bad times so they can buy up all the farmland. Bring on the recession so you can make people desperate, willing to work for any wage. There are very few small farmers left, and this is the way they did it. Get rid of the infrastructure. There's no way to get your shit to market if you wanted to. Defund the schools to 4 days a week so kids can work. Make childcare deserts so women have to stay home. Get people off the farms, get them into towns where they have to work for wages that are nearly unlivable. Create massive income inequality, a new Gilded Age. All of this, everything you're seeing, is on purpose. The oligarchs are laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah, this is where we are. Terry Ejioma was like, we should move like the banks, but most of us don't have that kind of money. Right. Drew was like, blood in the water money. Most of us didn't stay ready. We didn't stay ready, so we can't get ready. So that means there's going to be a lot of haves and have-nots. And what happens is only, I think, 3 days before people turn into animals, or a week before, desperation sets in. I'm listening to this book that I'm going to talk more about on Monday, The Science of Evil. And I wasn't going to read it, but I did a podcast today with Dr. Daniel Black. So we had a conversation about evil and empathy and what that all looks like. But when you're desperate, you're not thinking about other people. You only think about yourself. And unfortunately, most people only think about themselves even when they're not desperate. So now you add a smattering of desperation and poverty on top of it. And it's the formula for some real evil stuff to go down.
Yeah,
and people watch it.
I think also with them cutting government programs, there's no government assistance waiting on people that have lost jobs, that have industries that are cratered, that have lost their retirement. Like, all that's waiting on you is you got to go do labor somewhere. So like I agree. Like, it's put people in a precarious position. I have no idea when it's the Trump administration. I have no idea how much is masterminded by people that aren't Donald Trump, because I don't think he cares to govern. So I like, we look at what's happening with Elon Musk. that looks like Trump just said, you go do what you want to do. Like, I don't care. So, I can't put it past, all those oligarchs that were at his inauguration indoors, because it's not about the people. It's too cold to be out there with the people. So I don't put it past them to be masterminding some of this stuff. I know it delves into like a conspiratorial area, but I mean, look around. This feel like a conspiracy. Like this, everyone said this is a bad idea. They still have not explained exactly how this is going to work and be a good idea. Every time that this has happened in the past, it's put the country in a recession or a depression. There's no reason to think that, to me, that Donald Trump is on the up and up, and I just really believe in tariffs and I'm going to get us the best deals. I don't think he cares about us. I think he wants the best deal for him. And if that means the best deal for him was, people investing in his campaign, people investing in him personally, and then saying, all right, you guys run the country. I'm going to go play golf. I'm going to go,
yes.
I'm with y'all over here in the back by myself with my money. So yeah, I don't put it past him. And I just keep thinking about how we knew this was coming. We knew he would do it. He's not doing things he didn't say he would do during this campaign. And I still have a very searing anger inside of me when I see people that are quote unquote waking up to it, like, oh, I can't believe this is happening. I didn't think he'd really do it. And it's just like, it's way too late for that. Why wouldn't he do what he said he was going to do at this point?
Yeah. The only, let me put the number out, 866-801-8255. I want to start today in a very sober way because we are in a particular point in time where the tipping point is very close, where we won't be able to pull it back. I loved watching this week with Wisconsin, this Saturday with Louisiana showing up, Florida, even though it didn't turn out to be flipping of seats, we're seeing some movement. Cory Booker's 25 hours and 5 minutes. There's some signs that people are not going to sit and take this.
Right.
But there'll be a point where you won't be able to do anything about it. And listening to the Signs of Evil, what was really poignant to me is that the Nazis were not the first or even the most brutal. They're the most storied. We talk about them as if, they're a particular brand of evil, but Leopold in the Congo, you have, they were going over all of these different, the Armenian genocide, which nobody really talks about, was horrific. They had 39 concentration camps. They were more brutal than it. You think of people being burned alive and just like gassed and all of the things that of the Holocaust happened to the Armenians and nobody talks about it.
Well, why we talk about the Nazis though, right?
Yes.
Because America can act like forget this slavery thing, forget this genocide of the Native Americans. No. The real issue is they the bad guys. And that's why we act like they the only bad guys that ever exist. Cause we get to pat ourselves on the back, even though we was doing isolationism. We were pretending that it wasn't happening. We come in at the last minute, claim the entire victory for ourselves and be like, we saved the world. Let's never talk about anything else. We are the greatest. And that's why. So yeah. And it allows stuff like this to happen because that myth making is what emboldens nationalism. It's what emboldens people like Trump to just be like, America's not great, but if I'm in charge, it'll be great. And no matter what we do, it is a sign of our greatness. If we oppress other people, sign of our greatness. If we're treating our fellow countries that we used to be allies with like enemies, that's just because we're so great. If we cutting government programs, that's because we're great too. If we're firing everybody, that it's just us being great. But hey, we're not the Nazis. Like, come on, guys. Are we doing Nazi salutes? No, we're waving at people from our hearts real passionately a couple times. Like it's insane.
But the wild thing about that is there are no Nazis without Jim Crow. There's no Nuremberg laws without. Exactly. That's all I'm saying. All the eugenic stuff, that was at Harvard. All that.
But why are we bringing
stuff?
that up? We beat the Nazis. We saved the world, the Allies. We came in and America stormed the beaches of Normandy and we fixed everything.
Yeah.
And then we came back home and was like, whoa, Negroes, that's a little bit too much rights. I'm gonna need y'all to go back to the color section. But we freed everything. The real bad guys are the Nazis.
Right. And unless the Nazis are running the government.
Experience Karen Hunter in a completely different way. Karen Hunter is awesome. The podcast.
If you like me on SiriusXM Urban View Channel 126, you're gonna love me. And Karen Hunter is awesome. Hey, this is Karen Hunter, host of the Karen Hunter Show on SiriusXM's Urban View. Karen Hunter is awesome is an actual podcast to bring heat and energy and knowledge and power. A 1-2 punch that I don't think you get anyplace else. Tell the truth. Check out the podcast. Wherever you get your podcast, you will not be disappointed.